What's going on, everybody? Welcome. It is Friday night, and we are back for another NLG show. No Chris tonight. Chris is actually under, his mouth is under duress. He had dental work done today, so he said mouth full of gauze. He said his he wouldn't sound good. So
Gauze is gaming as a service kind of thing.
Gauze.
That's a mouthful, right?
Nicely done. Gauze as a service. Hey man, I don't envy anybody who has to go to the dentist and have teeth pulled. Man, I've had enough of them pulled in my life. It is nasty business. I am not down for that. So Chris will be back with us next week. Hopefully he is feeling better, and that'll. Oops, sorry. Hey, there we go. But hey, my microphone's working. That's always a good sign.
I think mine too. I'm not talking to my hidden mic in my headset.
No, right. So, and we have our special guest for tonight. First, I'm going to say hi to Peter, our able co-host, the co-hostess with the mostest. He's in the game.
He's in the game. Always in the game.
Always in the game. What's up, Peter?
Hey, it's Friday, and ready for some gaming.
Yeah, man. Let's get this weekend started right.
And
then here he is. He is a great friend. He's been with us now many times, and in a very new capacity. He is our brother, Rick Lagnese. What is up, my friend? How are you? It's a loaded question.
Yeah, hey, thank you very much for having me. I'm still recovering from PAX, but as you guys know, I'm on quite the new adventure, new journey, so I'm revitalized and ready to go.
Awesome, awesome. And we're going to talk about that because we want to know all about this new venture. Now, I am for our friends over at Warhorse Studios. I just want to give them a shout out because we still love them. We still love Kingdom Come, Deliverance. Still, you know how I feel about that game. Robbed in many a game, and now we can talk about it. Now we can really talk about it. So, yeah, man, it's great to have you back on, and
thank you.
Patiently waiting for Christian Allen to get back from his vacation so we can break open Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter 2.
Oh yes.
The four of us can roll some co-op.
No question.
That'll be a lot of fun.
Yes, we had fun with the first one.
Yes, minus the disconnects.
Minus the disconnects. Well,
so hopefully this one is a little bit more stable.
Hopefully. Well, I guess with the Xbox.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. No. What?
I saw Nixie and my man's on the stream. So what's up, Nixie?
Welcome.
And Super Cooper. I just saw the chat. My bad.
Yep, and our brother Niall, he's on. So, yeah, the chat room always gets hopping when we get going.
Yeah, of course.
So, and apparently going on later means we get more people that jump on and go, wait a minute, I forgot you were on. And then they come on in the last, Peter will tell you, they come in the last 3 minutes of the show. So, so lurking in the chat. All right. Hey, man, we are pleased to have you here, Nixium, and hopefully you'll enjoy the show. Keep checking us out. We are Rick approved, right?
Rick approved, double, triple sealed, man.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So before we do anything else, I want to know what you guys have been up to in the gaming world, and I know what Peter's been up to.
Yeah.
But what have you been? So you can tell him it's okay.
I've been playing Division 2, and it's quite enjoyable. Yesterday I reached level 30 and moved into the first world level.
Nice.
And So, but yeah, it's cool. It looks delicious. Lots of eye porn. Plays extremely well. It's a good refinement over the first one.
Yeah.
Story is good. It's playing in my backyard, which is always fun.
That's the cool part. See, I keep when I'm in the parties. I haven't played much of it. Admittedly, I got through the first main mission, but I hear you guys. It's funny because we were in the party with Nate, and Nate goes, "What is this DuPont circle?" And I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
Really DuPont?" Like he's like calling out these streets and these monuments and stuff like that. We're going, "Yeah, man, that's real." So the game map. Somebody did a game map and overlaid it to Google Maps, and showed to scale where everything was. That's how 1-to-1 that city map is.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Indeed.
Crazy. Oh, Nixium is in an interview, man. Rick's been on way too many times for this to be an interview. He is he is honestly one of the gang at this point.
Oh, I'm on it, man. You guys all know, including Nixium, that multitasking is just something that I do.
Yeah.
You guys know, kids, my wife's coming in, we say hi, I got to get the notes up, we're good.
Yeah. Nah, Rick's part of the show, basically. He's been on 4 or 5 times now, and it used to be we used to come in and talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance, because that was your thing. So before we get to that, what have you been playing?
Me. So before I went to PAX, I finished playing Bloodstain, Curse of the Moon. I believe that's what it's called. Curse.
Yeah.
I beat that game like 6 times because I love.
Good. Talk to me about that game, because I was playing it the other night.
Yeah.
I had beaten Celeste finally, or at least up to the bonus level that I didn't know about. And then so I'm like, I'll try something else, because it was really too late to get on with the Division with Peter and Nate. So I'm like, hey, let me look and see what's in my library. So I fired up Bloodstained.
Yeah. So
go ahead, give me yours first.
So first off, you play the game, and you, like most people, like myself, you play as 4 different characters. They all have different abilities. Pretty straightforward. And actually, the girl is like probably my favorite, because she has the longest reach, and she's the quickest, and she has a slide move. But then you play it again to try and get a different ending, and then you can also the main character you can actually kill, because the bosses you fight, when you beat them, then they can become your ally. That's kind of trying to simplify it here. And then if you kill them, though, and they don't become your ally, you take on their ability or unique abilities, and playing as a main character, which that was my favorite playthrough. But it's not easy when you don't have 4 different characters, because you can go and keep playing. So if one of the characters dies, you just kind of go back to the checkpoint and keep going. You don't have to start from the beginning. So it's kind of like you don't get like 3 lives and then you go back to the beginning like a classic game. You have 4 characters, and once all 4 are dead, when you get to that point of 4 characters, because like I said, you have to kill the boss or whatever, then you have to start back fresh from the beginning. Not of the very game, but from that stage. And these bosses, they start off not so hard, not so bad. Yeah, Curse of the Moon, I was right. They start to get more and more challenging, and even can be more annoying. But just like any game, there's patterns, especially in the classic game. You found the pattern, the rhythm, whatever. It's just an old school game. It's great. It's great. And it's like any game that's like that, Metroidvania style, simple, I'm sold. It doesn't take much for me. You have a couple big boss battles, a couple little unique abilities, and I'm all set. That's I love it.
All right. So then tell me what I'm missing. I started playing it, and I immediately got we know what the game, because of who makes it. We know what the game is based on, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know it's Castlevania.
Mm-hmm.
It has all the telltale signs of it.
Of course.
Chris already starting. it's got that exact feel. I feel like with this one I'm missing something, maybe in the control not being as tight as I wanted it to be, or maybe it feeling kind of too much like an NES game.
Well, there's really not that many buttons you need to hit,
Right. Slash, jump, and the sub-weapon.
I am so used to choosing the hardest difficulty in the game. I can't remember, even though I played it literally 6 times. No. There is a... Why can't I remember this? I just played it. That's sad. But I'm pretty sure there is a more difficult mode. Jeez Louise. But anyways, I don't know. I just find that I don't think you're missing anything. I just think it's more of playing it, and then you understand what the character's abilities are, and then it's more about hurry up and wait. So you attack when you're at the right time, and you wait by understanding the moves of the enemy. And so you just try and be patient with it. And it's just such a simple game. I end up probably putting in, because then I even did the when you get through all the modes, then there's like a boss challenge mode. Mm-hmm. And that's pretty wild as well. That can be pretty tough. Those are the kind of games that I've been playing since I was a kid. That's why it's just easy to sucker me right in.
Right.
I don't think you're missing out on too much. Like I said, I don't. It's not like it requires. It's not like a really in-depth, as RPG or anything like that.
No, it's definitely, like I said, it's modeled after Castlevania. It's side scroll, with even down to having the steps. You go up and down and stuff like that. I mean, it looks like a Castlevania game. It literally looks exactly like that. That's what it's modeled after. And that's I was. Hey, Project Jeff said just in time. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm. Maybe I'll try it again. Maybe based upon that. There was something that hasn't grabbed me on it, and I wanted it to, because it's Castlevania style, and of course we got that Castlevania Konami collection coming out this year, so I was kind of getting a head start. And of course they have another one coming out this year called Ritual of the Night.
I talked to some of the guys that are one of the devs too. That it's a totally different, because it's not by the same team. So totally different, and I'm excited about that for sure.
Right, you're right. The Ritual of the Night, that's the guys. Oh, help me out here.
I want to say
Koji. Well, no, it's that one's more like a Symphony of the Night kind of game. Koji Igarashi, and that's the one and he ran the Castlevania series. So that's the one that's supposed to be the spiritual successor, but this one looks like it. This one, so Curse of the Moon was done. I'm looking it up now. Curse of the Moon was done by Inti Creates, and it doesn't say anything about. But it says that, it features an 8-bit aesthetic and gameplay style similar to Castlevania games on the NES, particularly Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse. So, and Project Jeff loved that game, so we're right up his alley right now. It's great too. We can go back and play a 2-year-old game and still enjoy it. That's the cool part. That's what that's what a backlog is.
Would you believe I'm still playing Wildlands when I can?
I believe you're not inviting me to play Wildlands when you can?
I know. Well, to be fair though, I know that a lot of people are hating on it, but I actually like Anthem. I do. I don't know, man. I played all the way through it. I think there's some things could definitely be better, but I just like the environment, the atmosphere. I love the flying around. I'm a fan. What can I say?
And
that's a good game.
Yeah, this is the night that Chris can't be on the show. He'd love to come in here and talk some Anthem with you, but he would.
Oh, sorry. If I may back up in the comments, I just saw that Nixium just got married, and I know he's been talking about some big things happening. So, wow, congratulations,
Congratulations, sir. Nice.
And yeah, he's. I'm sorry. I just thought that was cool when someone says they get married. Like, whoa, you know. So if you're still on, I don't know if you're busy or not, but congrats. Wow.
Yeah, congrats.
That's amazing because he was talking about that last time we talked, which was a while ago.
He said he's still lurking.
Yeah, he's the man. He's the man. So, what else? I've been actually, now that I've been getting past Anthem to the point where, you know, you kind of just trying to get the next loot and gear. I don't mind grinding. I just don't like doing a ton of it. I know. Then why would I get the game? Sorry, but I don't mind playing through to the end and still feel like I'm getting my money's worth playing with other people and all that stuff. But I'm also trying to get back into Far Cry. I want to get to that because I need to get into the Division. I can't keep, you know how it is, guys. We've talked about it time and time again. It's like, you know what? I can't even complain. It's like game overload, and then you get, you know, I got hero and all this.
Do not feel bad. Do not feel bad because that's where I'm at. While they were playing the Division, I was playing Celeste because I got stuck on that game, and I'm like, all right, but now I got to play it, and I got to play it some more, and I got to play it some more, and then I was like, yeah, I might have died 3,000 times in that game, but I had to play it. That's a game that counts how many times you died, kind of like Cuphead. Except, except mine was 3,000 times. How many times, Peter, did I curse that game?
I don't know. Too many times.
This game is made by Satan himself. So.
No doubt. And then I'm playing a couple on the Switch too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice, getting the Switch action in.
Yeah, my kid trying to beat me in Smash Brothers, so because I don't let him win. I'm not better than me.
Good. That you teach those children the real world, man.
Hashtag no easy mode. Sorry, guys.
Hashtag no easy mode.
All right, so there. Obviously, you know, you're here because we love you, and because we always want you to come on whenever you can. You've always had the open invitation, but you've got a real reason for being here tonight, and we want you to give us the full court press on your new adventure. So,
yeah.
Fextra Life. Is that how it is? Fextra?
Fextra Life, you got it. It's Fextra Life actually. So the owner of the company, yeah, there you go. I mean, it's quite simple. She goes by Fex, so it's simply just adding on to extra life, just like in like Fex has an extra life, right? Like you get an extra life in Mario after you get 100 coins. You know what I'm saying? Or like the green mushroom. You know, get the mushroom, one extra life. So I've known the gentleman who actually has been streaming on our channel, Sekiro, and he goes by Cass, and I've known him for a little while, and we've actually met Fextra Life when I was with Warhorse appointments, and they checked out our game before and after it was released. One of the wonderful things about working in the industry is getting to meet other people in the industry. And when you go to events like E3 and PAX, the truth is there's competition, right? I mean, there's always, with Kingdom Come, it was hard to find an exact competitor because it was so unique. But there's always a game you think in the back of your head that maybe something similar that you're competing with. Something like, for example, Anthem and Destiny. I know that sounds like a silly comparison at this point in time, but let's be honest here. We're not people talking about that before Anthem's release. They kept talking about Destiny 2, and how it would fare again. I know Destiny has multiplayer in a whole other dimension. I'm just saying. So when you're at these places, you don't think about that yet. So you build relationships and you talk to people. Now, obviously, we're not competing with Extra Life because they're not game devs, right? But I'm just saying the relationships are great. So they, we just had talked, and they were getting so busy with the work they're doing. Let's just at least say this: Fex for Life is a massive gaming community. It does game guides, news, reviews, has a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel. I mean, heck, over the last 2.5 weeks, we've got 30,000 new followers. And we're streaming and playing and doing stuff all the time. And it's an awesome community because, people help contribute and ideas and suggestions, and we feed off this stuff.
All right, so back up. For people that don't know what this is, and to an extent, I've looked at it. You've kind of told me about it, but what is Fextra Life? What's the purpose? What's the gist of what you guys do? Let's start there. We have a website that's gamers. It's for the gamers by the gamers.
Okay. We get millions and millions of unique visitors every single month. And, this all goes back to Demon Souls. So, when Demon Souls came out, a lot of the Japanese gamers felt lost because it was so new, a game like this, to the industry, right? It's like someone starting off on a smartphone for the very first time, especially someone who's older in age, and, the manuals, they stink. You know what I'm saying? Manuals there's barely any manuals for anything anymore. But when there used to be manuals, and you opened up the thing and you see this 20-page long manual for a game or something, which you don't see anymore, of course. So Fexella is what she goes by in the community, Fex for Life. Thought it would be great to help people, not just as for a gaming Wikipedia, but just for where people to go and talk about this game, Demon Souls, and that's really how it started. It just got really big, massive. We have an awesome relationship, with From Software, and just because we love their games, we love playing games that role playing, action role playing, and we have some other variety as well. So it's really a massive gaming community, like I said, from people all over the world, and they needed a PR manager, because they're getting so busy, and I at this point have been with Warhorse for 3 years, and
right.
It's, oh, sorry.
No, I said right.
Oh, Warhorse is. I've met a lot of people in different studios, and there is a lot of fantastic studios. And obviously, I worked for Warhorse, but I also knew them prior to working for them. They are one of the best, if not the best, studios I have ever seen. Warhorse is amazing, but at some point, you always, especially I've always been interested in doing even more PR to on another level, because even though I was the community manager, Toby and we did presentations together, PR, podcasts, interviews. Toby let me do that stuff a lot, and it was awesome. I loved the trust they had with me. And even still, though, as I'm on this journey in the industry, that was my first job. And I think I've told you guys before, if I was with them for the rest of my career, it'd be phenomenal. But there was this opportunity to be a PR manager. I am telling you, this was not a decision that was made overnight. But all in all, this is where we are. And I have great relations with Warhorse Studios. We still talk frequently. We had a great, when I was in PAX, they knew that I was going to be moving on. But yeah, we had a great time. I had such an amazing time talking with people from Twitch, Mixer, other devs about Kingdom Come Deliverance. But there's a new chapter. And even though I may say something about Kingdom Come here or there because it's still kind of fresh, I'm a totally new job. Does Toby shave? Come on, that was the name. You really think he's going to shave that now? It's PR, man. You got to understand this part PR stuff, dude. He shaves that. He might as well, go do something completely different. I don't know. That's like his identity now almost. But anyway, there's a lot to do. And I love that. I have to actually know how to stop myself to balance my time with my family because I don't have to relocate.
That's great.
Yeah, dude. Fex and Cast are amazing, and they're very, very smart, intelligent, have a great sense of humor. If I may I give you a couple of little tidbits?
Absolutely. Tidbits?
So, yeah, in 2018, I mean, Fex Life had over 150 wikis in 8 languages. I have these notes, so I didn't want to make sure I missed anything. There's so the contributors, there's over 75,000 new pages from contributors over that year. And my goodness, I mean, we just had set up a Twitch channel around 8 months ago. Started taking it serious about 3 months ago, and we're at 60,000 followers already on Twitter or Twitch. And YouTube, we have over 100K subs. My point is, they're not a small thing. And they have over 120 million views on their Twitch channel overall. So it's a really big thing, and they just can't keep up. So I love that I can help them. I love that now. Dang, man, I'm jealous. That's some great growth. It's crazy. And Nixium's, by the way, you guys got to check him out sometime. When he streams, he obviously has a really massive YouTube channel, awesome, and then he streams as well on Twitch. So I was checking you out today, by the way, Nixium, when you were streaming. So it's really weird now, me not being a game dev, and don't you dare. Did you guys know I was on a PAX panel?
No.
By the way. Yeah, I was on a PAX panel at PAX, and influencers and such. And I was actually on with Sean Baptiste. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sean. He's an influencer manager for Bethesda. No. Well, now I'm actually talking to him on Fex Life's behalf as a non-developer, which is so weird. But we've streamed Elder Scrolls Online and Elder Scrolls games, whatnot. So now my job is to help bring more content to the community and to understand and play some of that community position where I need to, really be aware of what's going on in our community, what they're talking about, some games we can take into consideration to stream, whatever. Yeah, so there's, I'm, setting up the schedule for E3. I'm going to jam us. We're going to be jammed, man, because I will miss being a game dev and focusing on Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's actually really hard to do something completely different other than that, because normally someone in my position would go to another gaming, be a game dev from a different gaming company. But these guys and Cast, the relationship we have is so cool, so awesome. So now I get to focus on a ton of games. I'm like, dude, if you make this flexible, man, we're gonna be here, just because I want to see this, and that. I know you want to see this, and that. We want to see everything. If there's DLC coming out for a company, we want to even see that too, because there's all sorts of stuff that's going on that can easily be overlooked. We want to see it all. So there's a lot of potential, and it's like we're not satisfied. The growth has been insane, but we're not even close to where we want to be. The bar is very high, okay. And you know what I mean. And I'm going to help get them there and make sure that we have a balance of bring the extra content and also taking, because again, it's a community, gamers for gamers, gamers by gamers, and I'm figuring that out as I go. But we have a really awesome plan in place: short-term, mid-term, long-term goals. And heck, I don't even know if it's been a full week. I've been so busy doing stuff with them, and so there's a lot to do. But I also got some shirt.
Yeah, when did you start? The 2nd, right?
Holy cow! It's only been
3 days.
Oh my goodness! It's been nonstop, but it's been a lot of fun in this nonstop affair. But yeah, I actually helped us get some. We got some new clothing coming. We're gonna have a contest for some shirts. That was a little spoiler alert. But and then you guys know I love doing contests on Twitter, so look out for that. And make sure you're following Fex for Life and me for that, because we're gonna be doing all sorts of stuff. Some good loot, good swag, maybe some little some. So
nice. Yep. Yeah, it's amazing. You have just as much infectious energy when you were talking about this as the first time we had you on when you were talking about Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Right.
You sold that game to people in our chat room, literally off of your enthusiasm. I can't even imagine what you're gonna do for this Fextra Life company. I mean, good Lord.
Rick Swagnese. I mean, think about it. How do you think I've been married for almost 17 years? I can sell to anybody. No.
17?
Got her. Hey, honey, got you. I was just a sales thing. I was just...
2002?
2002. It'll be 17 years in November.
November. I got you by a couple months. May.
So, same amount of years?
Same amount of years. My lovely wife and I.
Oh, how, out of all the times we've talked. Wow.
Yeah, May 26, 2002 was our wedding.
Wow.
So,
Love it.
that's to you and your lovely wife. So, who we got to meet before the show. She's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And she lets you come and play with us, which is awesome.
Yeah, no doubt, for sure.
So, who does the content for Fextra Life?
I mean, obviously we assist. I mean, so, obviously, like, you get review copies, right? So you get to we start creating our own content, but the gamers contribute as well, right? So, and then you also have.
So you guys have a staff. So you guys have a staff, though. You have a staff of dedicated.
That's the overall main contribution is really the staff. Yes.
Okay. Yep. All right. So you guys, in and of itself, are content creators.
Most certainly.
Okay.
But also at the same time, it's still overall this community where, like, for example, our DMs are open on Discord. I'll be honest with you. If you DM'd me unless you were kind of more closer to me or like a fan that I was in touch with a lot, to be honest with you, if you DM me on Discord, I'm like, hey, hit me up on Twitter because I use Twitter more for that. Not that I'm not going to be using Twitter, but hey, if their DMs are open and they're Fexella is the owner, my DMs are open even on Discord for better or for worse. God help me, but no, I had people DMing me, man. They're like, hey, Monster Hunter. They were asking if we have actually played that before. They'd like to see more of that. So it's like, all right, I'm just taking this. So it's a massive. Even though I'm doing PR stuff, it's definitely all about the community.
Wow. Okay. All right. Yeah, I was looking on Get Published. So you have a place where you can actually where anybody, no experience is necessary. It's as simple as making an account and posting an article. So pretty much people can come in and also create content for you.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. You got it. I mean, of course, it's simple. It's still something that we're all on, the same page, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. No, it's but the thing is like, I am still I haven't even scratched the surface. I mean, there's all sorts of, like, even from the little things, like, hey, let's not just go, for example, and this is just for business. If you want people to take you serious, even in the gaming industry, well, because gaming industry, like, you also think of a lot of fantasy, right? Like, you can be this other person in this world because you think, in this other kind of world, and you sometimes create different personas and whatever. But, like, when we go into E3 when we talk to game developers, they put a lot of time and energy into their game. I want to show how serious we are, even by our appearance. That might sound silly to some, but if you're a professional and you're in business, you need to also dress accordingly. So I don't want to just walk in there with T-shirts. I want to have polos of our brand and show people how serious we are. That it's not just even, playing your game that we have the chance to. It's like, no, you can have also the same chance to get your game exposed to millions and millions. You ever see that Trump meme where he goes at billions and billions? I feel like I could do that on our millions and millions. But it's just really awesome working for these guys that they put a lot of, a lot of just like blood, sweat, and tears, man, into what they do, and it shows. It shows because not that it's just about numbers, but the numbers don't lie. When you have millions of people come into your website and millions of people watching your streams. That's a massive community. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine all the work that we have cut out for us, especially as we grow.
Absolutely. But believe me, I know, minus the streaming part, which I didn't have back in the day, but yeah, I know. You guys write, it looks like you guys are writing a lot of news. You guys are, you're definitely writing wikis. I mean, this is like, in the old days, this is like my old website plus GameFAQs plus, the beginnings of like game trailers all in one shot, like all in one package.
Yes,
this is really good stuff too. Very, very polished.
Yeah, I don't shy away from the success we've had, but the success we've had is, and it's the same thing I said as a community manager for Warhorse. It's seriously, Frankie, go home. You go home, because now you guys install Kingdom Come before, yeah, smack ya. Now you're gonna install Fextra, I'm gonna smack ya. So it's just a really wonderful thing to be a part of this, and I feel like sometimes I just feel like I keep being in the right place at the right time, but it's just that I love what I've always wanted to do something in the gaming industry when I was a kid, and I thought I never knew anything about sales or marketing or PR or community management, so I just thought you got to know how to do some kind of computer. You got to get through computer coding. I remember I went on a shadowing day. Don't die on me, Mike. I remember
I got the wrong pipe.
Woo. I remember I went on a shadowing day to someone in where I lived locally, and this gentleman does coding, and it was so boring to me. I'm like, this sucks. I'm thinking as a kid, I do not want to do this. Now, obviously, I have so much more respect now, having a different perspective and being a little more mature, and working with the QA team all the time as a community manager and getting feedback and talking to them and how hard it is, and not just QA but design and all that stuff. But now I'm doing what really I love to do is I talk about the games. I talk about freaking games. I mean, it's amazing. And so for the fans, we work our tails off to have great relationships with the devs, and then we get the content that we need necessary and bring it to the fans. That's what I'm here for. So right. It's great.
Man.
Nice.
It's amazing. Slam. Boom. Good. So now that you could talk about games.
Oh boy. Actually, I'm excited for whatever we're getting into.
Yeah, well, apparently we're going to get into something that you are already excited about. And I oh my God, I'm not kidding. I thought this was a joke earlier this week. I thought people were just, goofing around, goofing off on Sekiro. I thought that, because it's another Dark Souls type game, and everybody get good and all that stuff. And as the week went on, and I started to make little jokes about Celeste, and then people started to get into these conversations about difficulty levels, and I'm thinking to myself, holy crap.
Oh, I love this one. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Is this real? Are people really... So I started to dig into this a little bit, and yeah. So let me make sure I get this straight before because I want to make sure I got all my ducks here in a row. Are people upset because there's a difficulty level in this game?
So people are upset because they want the game to be more accessible.
Okay.
And by that, what happens, unfortunately, is it tends to get a little personal, which it doesn't need to. It doesn't need to, because everyone's allowed to have a different opinion. So you have the opinion that it should be more accessible. My man, you're the man, Super Cooper. by having whether not just maybe an easy mode, but also like the way you can tweak settings, like in Celeste, the game you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
But
Celeste had an interesting assist mode that you could.
Right.
You're right. You could change the. See, okay, hold on. All right, let me let you finish that point. But there's Celeste is a little different. But go ahead. Finish your point.
So yeah, and on that note, on a side note, you can't compare those two games because they're not even on the same level. They're like, it doesn't mean one's better than the other per se, but let's be honest.
Right.
Secure, way bigger budget, way more going on from software. I'm sorry, they're way more established, way more developed. So, bottom line is, there are other people saying, well, what about gamers who are disabled? Now that's an interesting one because I know what that feeling is like because my father had Lou Gehrig's disease and was a gamer, nowhere near on the level that we are at, but he was the one that got my brother and I into playing, heck, even Zelda 2, man, the second Zelda. He actually had to help us beat that game. He would stay up sometimes till 3 in the freaking morning, going in and out of. Have you guys played Zelda 2? Please tell me you have.
No.
Me neither.
No, I played Zelda. I didn't play Zelda 2.
No, anyways.
I'm sorry. Remember, I was a Sega guy.
That's fair point. So he would stay up. I kid you not. I woke up one time at 3 in the morning, and my dad is just getting more experience. So because you actually there was way more role playing elements in Zelda 2. The show is my kids. So he had Lou Gehrig's disease, just your muscles start to die. And he got to a point where he couldn't use his hands. He couldn't. Then he couldn't even run around with my sister in the backyard when she was young because he lost the strength in his legs and he couldn't talk anymore. So you want to talk about being disabled? So the only reason why I brought that point up, and maybe I made it a little personal, is even though I said before that we don't need to take it that way, is that I understand to an extent. But when someone makes a game, Mike, you make a game, you can do whatever the heck you want. Now, obviously, don't break any dumb laws, or don't make that stupid game that they took down on Steam. And if you guys know what I'm talking about, I'd rather not elaborate. Do you know there was a game that was taken down on Steam because it was showing men doing really bad things? And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I'm actually going to leave it at that. Sorry to leave you hanging, but it was just really bad. Steam finally took it down. Okay. Anyways. You don't have to make a game for everybody. From Software, all the games they've made has never been for everybody. When you say Dark Souls, it is one of the most well-known games on the planet. By the way, you Google Dark Souls, Extra Life is 3rd or 4th on the list. Bam. Plug. Okay, anyway. Because that's how many people have seen our guide for Dark Souls. But if you were to have an easy mode, let's just start there. Think about how different some of the reviews would be. Think about how much that would change the experience. Not for the person. Now, for me, I don't choose easy mode. I put on hard mode, right? No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul from my perspective. In fact, from my perspective, if From Software decided to do it, it's not going to bother me. But we have to stop looking at it from just our perspective. The devs can do whatever they want. It's their game. They don't have to make any adjustments if they don't want to. If they have a community where millions of people are playing their game, they don't have to cater to everybody. They don't. If you add an easy mode, it will take away accessibility, make far more. Yeah, but I still got to. Yes, you're right, Jeff. You are right. So let's start. That is true. But this whole accessibility thing is overblown. It's overblown. You don't have to for every gamer. And the minute we can understand that, We need to take away a little bit of the entitlement and thinking that we can demand something, so it needs to happen. Or they're terrible people or they're discriminating. It has nothing to do with discrimination. If I make a game and I have a dream, I can make it the way I want to. And if it sells, you don't have to change it. To have an easy mode or to have accessibility options that make it easier can change everything from the dev's perspective and the outlook of the game. Do you know why people love it, why Dark Souls did so well? Is because they didn't take it easy on you. If you had an accessibility option, I guarantee you 1,000,000% they would not be here in the same capacity that they are to this day. Do you really think they'd have that reputation?
So let me ask. All right. So let me ask this, because the reason that I brought Celeste into this was the assist mode in Celeste is not an easy mode. They're more or less cheats. You can either get, you could slow the game down or slow the game down up to half, I think. You can, your stamina, you have an infinite stamina, infinite jumps. You can do. It's basically like turning on God mode pieces, right? That's different than a difficulty mode. But to me, my question is, and for both of you. Peter, jump in here too. Are you playing Dark Souls, honestly, in all honesty, are you playing Dark Souls because it's simply a hard game to play, or are you playing it because the gameplay rocks? Because the hack and slash and the rolling around and the strategy it takes to beat the bosses, are you playing that way? Peter, would The Division be a different game if it had if you were playing it on easy than if you were playing it on normal or hard?
I don't know. I mean, you can play missions on like hard mode and stuff, so you can change the difficulty. I mean, I don't know. I can see both sides of the coin. I agree with Rick. Like, I mean, a dev makes a game, make it super hard, because that's what they do. That's what they like, and people like to play it. I mean, you asked me, and the other question that you posted is, are they playing it for the game mechanics, the hack and slash, or because it's difficult? I would say probably both. If it's just hard, they will play, I don't know, 1001 times to die, whatever it's called, or whatever one of these other crazy hard games, and you die a million gazillion times, and who knows what. So, I mean, maybe it's just a genre on its own,
Possibly. But okay, so
but there's some people, they give like arguments, and I don't know, they almost seems to be, more entitled, or I don't know, kind of arrogant.
Well, that's
which
how
doesn't help their argument.
Yeah, I mean, so the other thing too is why this game? Why Sekiro? If I remember correctly, this isn't the first hard game that's been out there. The Dark Souls series, we're talking about Dark Souls. I don't remember anybody saying anything about Cuphead. Oh, Rick's raising his hand. You don't have to raise your hand.
Well, it is, my friend, social media is at an all-time high.
Oh, sure.
So it only takes a few people or maybe a big streamer with a difference of opinion, and all of a sudden, boom, and then it's so easy for people to cling to something and just form an opinion, and all of a sudden get really, well, I mean, look at me, even I'm being pretty passionate about it, but I'm passionate about everything. I mean, I don't know. There's nothing wrong with being passionate about an opinion, obviously. And someone can disagree with me, who cares? That's cool. Disagree, that's totally cool. Again, from my perspective, when there's not a difficulty mode in games, sometimes I get worried that it's going to be too easy. So I would actually rather have, like in God of War, I put on the hardest mode. I literally died 30 freaking times by the first enemies. I kid you, maybe 25 times. Not exaggerating.
Right.
25 dang times. But for me, I agree with Peter. I'm not just playing it for the difficulty. There's some games that are honestly I don't really like, and if I don't like it, I'm not going to play it just for its difficulty. But at the same time, there could be a game like, for example, Assassin's Creed, the first one. I don't know how many there were that you couldn't die. When my brother told me you couldn't die in Assassin's Creed, the first one, won't play it. I won't play it. I need a difficulty, and I need good gameplay.
Oh yeah, I mean, you like to challenge yourself.
Yes.
And
that's me.
And there's nothing wrong about it. I mean, that's cool. For me personally, it's like sometimes I look at achievements too. It's like if there's no separate achievement or trophy for playing it on a harder level, I might not invest as much time in playing on a harder level simply because time. There's a finite amount of time. So, and I love to play a lot of games, a lot of different games.
Well, and it all comes back to what the developer wants to do. Look,
right. In the end, it's up to the developer. If a developer wants to, have games with different accessibility modes or whatever you want to call it, I mean, it's up to them. I mean, we're not having laws like 508 compliance on games.
No.
And I don't know if you guys saw my former, so weird saying that, my former PR manager, Toby, chimed in. Well, he had his own opinion, his own tweet. He's like, it's not just always the simply click of a button. It can also cost more money, take more time. It's not just always easy to have different difficulties.
Right. It all depends, how you can implement it, how you want to implement it. I mean, sometimes the easy thing would be like, okay, instead of having like 6 steps and you're dead, now you can do 6,000 steps before you die. It could be,
right.
But once you start manipulating AI to make easier AI, so they're not flanking as much, or I mean, that's definitely more, that can become very costly.
And I think in the long term, and again, I could go all the way back to even Demon Souls. If you put a difficulty level on that, see, everyone can relate from playing those games how hard it was. But you would have how many people, even maybe one of us, that gets frustrated that, like, because some games you have to stick with the difficulty from the beginning, or some games you can change it at any time of the game, which I think is so lame. My opinion. Yeah. I have no problem in Nintendo games, by the way, with the assist mode. I don't like it. I think it's dumb. But I have no problem with it because you have children playing those games. Children should not be playing Dark Souls. Food for thought. But, by the way, my son has seen it and likes Dark Souls. Just saying. A little hypocrisy in there. But if there is enough feedback for change, Dust will try to address that. Well, not always true, Chris. Not always true.
Well, so here's the other thing too. We live in a society. This is what bothers me about today's society, and unfortunately, this is going to get a little glimpse into some of my social age and how get off my lawn kind of thing. But look, I am not a fan of mob rule. If you don't, the reason that Sekiro, in its essence, the reason that Sekiro doesn't need, the developers don't need to have accessibility options in their games, is because their games sell. And you sort of alluded to this at the beginning of the conversation, Rick, but the games sell. You vote with your wallet. If you are really that upset that there are no accessibility games in Sekiro, then don't buy it. Show the developer that you won't stand for that by not supporting their game. But guess what? I guarantee you that game is going to chart this month. I guarantee you, and I'll guarantee you that this is a game that I think Xbox gamers too you're gonna see a lot of game sales on the Xbox because Dark Souls 3, and they've been waiting for, they didn't get Neo. They got Dark Souls 3, but they didn't get Neo. They didn't get Bloodborne. the Xbox community has been waiting for another game like this, and despite the loud voices, the money talks. You know, the other thing too is how, I'm all for accessibility when, for in gamers and stuff like that. I think one of the greatest achievements that Microsoft did was to create that special controller. And I watched the videos of people playing on that controller, and the commercial that they put out with the little boy who had all the friends over, and he's playing the game, he's beating the game, and his friends are cheering him on. I got an emotional response from that, like a little bit of tearage over that, because that's really cool. And then there was another video that Microsoft put out that was more of a comedy, and I forgot who the guy was who was using the controller, and he was playing against somebody who was, was not disabled, and there was this whole trash talking thing going on, and I mean, it was a really cool and funny video. But what it showed was, the controller also, it has something to do with giving people that ability to get into these games and stuff like that. And maybe, just maybe, maybe people that use that controller and do that thing, maybe they like Sekiro because they don't want to feel like they're being pandered to,
Yeah.
That makes sense. Jeff, and he's saying it here, being someone with a form of autism who has beaten Celeste without the use of assist mode, I had a more frustrating and easier games due to other reasons such as design flaws, gameplay. That's what I was getting at. And you know what, Jeff, my son has autism. He's thankfully high functioning, but he has autism. And let me tell you something. I've watched him rip through games.
It's awesome.
I've watched him rip through games. I've watched him learn to play the piano through YouTube videos. I mean, that does not make you unintelligent. It does not make you weak. It does not make you unable to play a game like Sekiro, like Dark Souls, and so I think that what happens is you get people who want to speak for other people, and they're the ones who are complaining the most. And I don't understand it. I see that in other outside of games. I see that in other parts of social media and other parts of what's going on in the year of our Lord 2019. And I don't get it. I don't understand it. And I'm it's a little bit of a social commentary for me. I apologize. Everybody knows I don't try to get into that stuff very often, but this is a weird, like I said at the beginning of the week, I thought this was a joke, and as I started to see people actually getting into real life conversations about this, and I'm like, wait a minute, this is real. Somebody is actually complaining about this. Don't buy the game. Don't buy the game. If you are that upset about it, don't buy the game.
And Adam Bomb Baby 420, hey man, or lady, not sure who Adam Bomb Baby is.
It's Witty Mass.
Oh, well, glad to see him on here. I get it. I get why he says he doesn't see the issue, but with all due respect, you're not a developer. And if you were a developer, you're going to see it from a totally different perspective. There is so much to keep in mind about the experience of the game they make. So it's not just easy. Just add a difficulty mode. Problem solved. To be very frank, guys, it's a very ignorant statement. Because again, I love that I've had the opportunity to be total gamer fanboy. I've had my days of being an ignorant gamer. I'm still ignorant of things. Let's be honest here. We're all ignorant at times. And then working for a company that is not on a AAA budget and does this or that, has to make very important decisions. Crunch time, I've learned so many different things in the industry. And I understand it now more. And then now I work from a whole nother perspective, so I've gotten to see a lot of perspectives. You don't just problem solve, just do this. Because we think everything is so simple. We want everything to be done now. And we talk about diversity like everything has to have everything. What I mean by that is, hear me out, I'm not being political here. I'm saying that, again, an accessibility for everyone. You don't have to. And you know what? If I made a game, I don't know if I would want to make it accessible for everyone. I would make it, honestly, it's a game that I absolutely love. And so that I would hope that the game that I make, that other people want to play it too. But not everyone has to do everything. Not everyone is going to be a starter in baseball or going to be a starter in football. Some people got to sit on the bench. Some people are not going to be as good at things. Mm-hmm. It just is the way it is. They don't have to do anything. And by the way, if they're making a lot of money off these sales, they don't need to try and just make more for the sake of making more, for the sake of just because they're their own thing. They're doing their own thing. And I applaud them for not compromising what they think would be in compromising maybe their own integrity. I'm not trying to speak on behalf of From Software, but there is something to be said about not compromising your integrity. And when you have millions of people that play your game, you're not going to have the majority of those gamers complain about that, because they're not playing it for an accessibility mode. They're playing it for that challenge overall.
And no one is saying that a developer should not put a difficulty level or accessibility if they want to. If they design the game with that in mind, then that's okay. But I went back to gameplay. And the three of us have played this particular game, with no difficulty settings, no anything, but you play it your own way, you do your own thing. Sea of Thieves. Mm-hmm. Sea of Thieves.
Great game.
Yeah, and getting better, and continuing to get better. Sea of Thieves is a game that every single positively gamer, no matter where you fit in the spectrum of gaming, can fire up that game and play. And correct me if I'm wrong, Peter, because I haven't played in a while. There's no easy versus hard mode on that, right? It's just you go into the game.
Correct. That's correct.
You find your way to play your way, and that's the recipe that I think works. But if a developer wants to do it, if they've designed it in mind, how many games do we see? Look, Wolfenstein has 5 levels of difficulty from, and they got trashed for that. They got the "Don't Hurt Me, Daddy," picture of the he's in the all the way up to Carnage. So
I mean, look at the old Doom, right, from way back when.
Right.
Yeah, different levels.
Absolutely.
But I mean,
that's cool, right? Like,
yeah, I mean,
but they decided to do that on their own.
Yeah.
If I'll tell you what, if From Software said we're going to actually have a difficulty level like for the next game, in one sense, I'd be like, oh man, please tell me you're not another company that's just giving in to social outcry. I'm sorry, guys, but unfortunately, sometimes we tend to give in to more of our emotions rather than trying to think from other perspectives, because we already hashed that out a little bit. But if they did that for the sake of me, or like when I'm playing, I don't care, because I really don't in that aspect of from a fan's sake, because I'm just going to play on the hardest difficulty. I don't care that God of War has difficulty levels, but there's something to be said about the one-shot experience with From Software's games, and there's not many other developers that have had that same, level of success to that degree, because they're their own thing. They would not be their own thing in this. We would not be talking about how hard the game is, or you die all the time, because I can die in God of War all the time on that difficulty, right?
Right. But again, nobody talked about this. Nobody talked about this when Cuphead came out. Nobody. What we were laughing at was a reporter, a journalist that couldn't get past the the opening, the trading stage,
tutorial.
the tutorial.
I understand that because you should play the game if you can't get past the tutorial.
Yes, I agree with you there, and there was a whole thing. But that's nobody. People were laughing about that and not talking about whether or not the game needed an accessibility mode. And I'm just trying to. What I don't understand is what is it about Sekiro that brought this out? Because there have been so many other games from Software, from MDHR, Celeste, games that are on its own difficult. What makes Sekiro? Neo. No one complained about Neo. No one complained about half of these games that were just simply, this is what you had. Look, this is what I found for Doom. These are your 5 levels. And sure, if you designed your game to have those levels, and you wanted to challenge yourself, or you wanted to just run through and play it, that's fine, but that's how the game was designed. That is what id Software decided to do up front. And the thing that bothers me is, as you were saying, you don't want the next From Software game to have it in there simply because they bowed to a Twitter mob that told them to, that forced them to do it. You want it to be their choice. And if somebody makes a game and puts these difficulty levels in, and it's their choice, and they weren't pressured, and they weren't pushed, and it had nothing to do with anything other than, this is how I designed a game, I'm fine with that. To shoehorn it into something because it's not there and you don't like it, that entitlement is tough to swallow. Don't buy the game. Go find a game that fits you. I don't buy every game that I don't like, even for mechanics, for gameplay. There are certain games that I don't care about. I don't go and buy Madden because I don't care about football games. I don't go and buy, I don't buy every first-person shooter because I'm tired of first-person shooters. Not because the games are difficult or easy. I don't care. I played Celeste because I liked Celeste. Because even though it was hard, and even though I died 3,000 times, which is a record for me, I found the mechanics to be so cool and so fun that I got around the difficulty to play the game because I enjoyed the game. The soundtrack rocked. The graphics were cool. The story was actually, it wasn't deep, but actually, that's not true. By the time you got to the end of that story, the story was a hell of a lot deeper than a lot of big AAA games that you play today. I didn't play it because, I heard this game was so hard, so I got to play it. No, I played it because it looked good. It was a Game of the Year candidate. It was a Metroidvania kind of game. I had to play it. It's a 2D platformer. I'm into 2D platformers. That's why I started it. Not because of the difficulty level.
And again, I know Adam Baum is commenting on this, and I completely understand where he's coming from. About you could draw millions more sales, but we also have to understand that there's a lot of people that are professionals and experts in marketing in game companies. Maybe they're the PR people, business people, CEOs. That these guys are smarter than we are. Some of them, whatever. You know what I'm saying? And we know they take all these things into consideration. They work on these things for years. So why don't they do that and try to get millions more? Because they don't need to. They don't need to make more money in that regard, right? Because if they would do it that way. Or would they draw in millions more? We think it's so easy. You know what it is? It's like the NFL draft. How the flip did they not pick that guy, man? That was our quarterback.
Yeah.
Like, we know how they're going to perform. Like, we studied all the film. You can see watched hours of ESPN. Are you kidding me? Were you sitting in there with the coaches and the staff? And these guys do that for a living. I understand there's some GMs that don't draft as well as others, but you can't act like you know more.
Yep.
Or like, you should have called this play. Oh, I do that, by the way. I do. But
All the backseat drivers, backseat coaches.
Backseat coaches.
And not for nothing, but Kingdom Come Deliverance, these guys mentioned that we didn't have a difficulty in Kingdom Come, and it was difficult. But if you learned how to play that game, and you weren't like someone like, oh, let's just skip the training because I'm so cool. I don't need to train. I'm a badass. Well, then they go and get destroyed. They get absolutely pulverized. Because
you guys made the lockpicking easier and all this stuff. So
that is true, because some things we definitely needed to tweak, and we did. In fact, you guys know this. We had a patch came that was within 2 weeks. But oh boy, the Nate, that's our boy.
Hey.
Why are you here?
Because he can't stay away.
Good to see you, man.
But I would actually ask Whitty. Let's say he said, because he said he wishes that Rockstar would put difficulty levels in their games. But he also said, I ain't gonna pester him about it, which is exactly the point. That's the right attitude.
Agreed.
You going and attacking the developer isn't helping you.
No.
And Whitty would never do that because that's not his style. He can, but he wishes there was. But I will ask this: would GTA 5 sell any more or any less than it's selling right now with difficulty levels? This is a game that charts every flipping month since it came out. And we don't even know where these sales are coming from anymore. I'm thinking Rockstar's just buying their own copies because there's no, there can't be anybody left. Although I haven't bought it yet, so I would be one of them. But would the game sell that much more if it had different? And that's a serious question. Would the game sell that much more, or do people buy GTA 5 because they like GTA and they like the gameplay, and for those who like the online, they like the online? That's where we're at.
Yeah, certainly.
Again, I don't want to make it sound like no game should have difficulty levels. I am of the mind that the developer should do it because that is their design, not because they're forced into it, not because they feel like they have to do it to satisfy a mob of people who aren't going to support them anyway.
You know what? It is of my opinion that most of the people who complain about this, even if they put a difficulty in it, still wouldn't play it. So get out of here.
Yeah, true.
Right.
Get out. We have too many
people just complain for complaining's sake.
Yes.
Arguing for argument, It's like, why?
Yeah.
Right. Now this is why I wish Chris was able to talk and be in here, because he would or Whitty, one of them would say it exactly the correct way. Who the F cares? Just play the games you want to play.
Agreed.
Play the games you want to play, and don't pester or bother or attack a developer of a game you don't care about because it didn't have something you think it should have. Even if other people who it would affect directly don't agree with you. I didn't know that about Jeff before he put that in the chat room, that he has autism, and I wouldn't have even guessed it because it just our interactions with Jeff are completely normal. But the fact is that he's playing games for the game. He's playing games for the gameplay. He's playing games because he wants to, and he doesn't care about whether or not the game has an assist mode or not. He's playing the games. I have all the respect in the world for that, and for guys like Jeff, because that is what we're talking about. So, and see, look, who knows when it would come to secure, he'd still be on the fence. That's what I mean. It's about the game itself, not necessarily the difficulty. Sekiro should not have to bend to that will. And if you were going to buy that game, you're buying it because, I played Neo because Neo was a cool samurai ninja Tenchu kind of game. And that's why I would play Sekiro. I haven't played it yet because, unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees at the Mullis house. But if it comes to Game Pass, Phil, let's make this happen. I'd be all over it. Not because it's difficult, not because I have to get good, because the gameplay is really cool. Now, can a game be over difficult and drive me away? Yes. Dark Souls 3 finally drove me away because there comes a point to where it's impossible. But
I beat it.
So, and right, I played Neo because I love Team Ninja. Because Team Ninja, it reminds me of the old days of Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden. That's the other game it reminded me of, was Ninja Gaiden. So,
okay.
And I love Ninja Gaiden. I didn't love it because it was hard or easy. I loved it because this is a damn Ninja Gaiden game, and the gameplay just rocked. So that's you got me going now, Rick. So
yeah.
Peter's actually the calm one here. He's like, yeah.
Well, because I got either. Sorry, Peter. You. I'm not going to talk.
Yeah, I mean it's what you said. I mean it's the same thing. I play games because I like the game, not because it's hard or because it's easy. Or although I must confess that I played an easy game just to get 1,000 achievement scores before. But who hasn't, right?
Ben-Hur, is that the?
Oh, Ben-Hur. A lot of people couldn't get that. The final achievo. So that was kind of That was the Dark Souls of Ben-Hur.
Well,
all right.
That is the other thing too. We do use Dark Souls as the this is the Dark Souls of, that is the Dark Souls of
Yeah, true.
And see, Jeff, I still get the game regardless. I didn't touch the assist mode in Celeste. I didn't even know it was there. Honestly, I didn't go looking for I don't know. And to be honest, I play on normal mode. I'm the guy in this picture that plays on Hurt Me Plenty. I don't need ultraviolence and Nightmare, but I don't want I'm too young to die.
I'm on Nightmare all day long.
Yeah. Yes, Frankie. I still have the.
I want to finish my game at a reasonable amount of time. I'm not playing on super easy either. And it's...
See, another thing with the extra difficulty is just what you said, Peter. I get maybe, I'm not as good as I could be, but when I play on Nightmare, it actually, harder difficulty, it can increase your gameplay by another 10, 15 hours because you have to now take your time a lot more. You have to use your stealth a lot more because of lack of ammo. I'm not talking specifically now about Doom or what have you, but I got one real quick for you guys. The Last of Us. Mm-hmm. When I got PS4, it came with it, and the DLC. What I didn't know this, by the way, I always choose the hardest difficulty. I don't care if it says you won't win, you're going to die all the time. I don't care. I choose it.
Yeah,
and that's just me. But what I didn't know is it was the DLC difficulty mode that you're supposed to play after you beat the damn game. That meant to say dang, said damn, whatever. And I actually was more than halfway through it. I'm like, man, this is crazy. I'm always out of ammo. Most of my kills are stealth kills. I get that they're supposed to not have a lot of ammo, but holy smokes. And my buddy's like, dude, are you serious? You're supposed to play that difficulty after you beat the game. And I'm like, I don't do that. I play a game once. Dark Souls, the first one, was so magical to me. I played it again. So magical to me because I could not believe that, you guys realize, I think you would agree with this, well, actually, before Demon Souls, that the difficult games started to die. It was like, what happened? And then they came back with that, and now look at all these challenging games. You have Neo because of Dark Souls. Okay? Mm-hmm. Sekiro, Bloodborne. You would not have had those games if you had an easy mode in it. I would put all the pennies I have in my bank account on that one. I would. You would not have it. You would not have it. No way. Not that it can't change, but that's how they got the reputation. They would not have the reputation with an assist mode or an easy mode. Wouldn't happen.
I tend to agree. And again, I'll say it again. For me, it goes back to, Peter hit it on the head. It's people. People just wanting to find something to bitch about. In some ways, especially people who don't have a dog in the fight. For society today kind of bugs me in that way, and it makes it difficult to want to enjoy things,
Yep.
But again, and that's if From Software or if Rockstar or if Studio MDHR, if in their next game they included an easier mode that people could run because they wanted to, because so let's say if From Software came out and said, we want to open up our games to a wider audience, so here's what we're going to do. I'm not going to be upset with that. That's not wrong. But if they come out and say, "All right, we're going to patch the game because you guys have come, your feedback, so we're going to patch the game we're going to shoehorn in an easy mode, because some of you complained." No, that's where I have a problem with that. That's
right.
That's succumbing to a mob, and I'm not big on that. You need to make that choice because you make that choice. And plenty of games do. Plenty of games make that choice. Anybody ever remember a difficulty level in Street Fighter 2 or Mortal Kombat or anything like that? No. Anybody remember a difficulty level in NBA Jam? Anybody ever? These are games that never had difficulty levels. I'm trying to think how many Neo Geo games I used to play that had difficulty levels. I don't think I remember a one. Ghost Pilots, Viewpoint, King of Fighters, Samurai Showdown. I don't remember picking difficulty levels in those.
All these games were challenging, man. I go back to the Atari 2600 or the arcade games, man. They were all challenging.
ER Kung Fu. I never had a difficulty level in that. Yeah, that's that's the thing, is that I get if you want to do it. I get if it's part of your design. If it's not part of your design, don't do it because someone made you do it.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with that, and I have a problem with that in all forms of life socially. You lose your you said it. You kind of alluded to this, Rick. You lose your identity if you do that.
You do.
From Software loses their identity if they do that.
Right.
So what Rick is saying is Dark Souls is the E.T. the E.T. of gaming.
The E.T. of gaming. Wait a minute. What does that exactly mean? Dark Souls is the E.T. of gaming. What? I know I should get what he's saying. What Frankie's saying?
The Atari 2600 ET.
Oh. How funny.
Jago, I'm talking about like the arcade. In the arcade, there wasn't a difficulty mode in Street Fighter in arcade. Gotcha. There might have been a difficulty. There might have been one later on in the console versions, but I'm pretty sure I never picked a difficulty level.
Right. And it's funny now, my kids, they always want to do the hardest mode. I'm like, yes, taught them well.
Right.
Yeah. Nah, teach his own, right? You don't have to play on the hardest difficulty if there is one. Who cares?
No.
Play on the easiest one. Play the way you want. I mean,
Yeah, you don't. You're right. That's the choice is there. And if the choice is there, you're good. No. Nice. The Dark Souls.
Jeff's got a good point. Throws games a lot harder than Dark Souls.
Yep. No, he's right. He's right. It's used as a joke now, but he's right. He's absolutely right. So.
Anyway, I want to judge Frankie because he said, "Don't judge me." Hold on. No, I have to play on the hardest difficulty. Oh, so Rick doesn't judge me. Oh, I see.
Dude, if I fell down that damn hole with the Atari, when you were 12, Atari's ET was cool for a while. Now, it's
Atari.
So, oh man. So, how's life, Rick?
More of life. Life is great.
Oh man. So
Too many games to play.
it's kind of funny because this is really all that's gone on this week. The only other thing that I could possibly ask about is how was PAX East?
So, as you guys know now, well, actually, it's funny. Well, when you hear THQ acquires, because they've acquired a lot of things, technically it's Koch Media, or they say Koch in Europe. Yeah, Koch. They actually own Deep Silver,
Right.
and they own now Warhorse Studios. But THQ owns Koch Media, right? So THQ is more like our grandmother, and our mother is Koch Media. So if that makes sense, and most people don't understand how that works. But my whole point is Rick, no, Nordic Games, they wish they were okay. So I met people from the THQ family, right? I just wanted to clarify that. And awesome. Guys, I gotta tell you, I love the way Biomutant, the direction they're going in. Anytime I see an open world adventure and I see big beasts to fight, I'm in. For the most part, always all in. Looks amazing. I love it. There was this monster truck game called Monster Jam Steel something or whatever. Looks amazing. I loved how you saw so many little boys playing it, and they were getting so excited, like jumping while they were playing it. Because I don't know, when I was a kid and I used to go to the monster truck rallies, man, it was great times. Went with my cousins and my brother, my uncles, my dad, and that's releasing soon. And my son loves monster trucks. What else? Oh, Fade to Silence. Have you guys heard of that one?
Mm-hmm.
Fade to Silence. I'm really excited. Talk to the devs. So freaking cool. It has some elements that remind you of like The Witcher. Kind of Dark Souls-ish again. Just whenever I see games like that, I'm already sold. Obviously, Kingdom Come, we're having new content. Then there's this like little shooter game. So at PAX, it was, we're used to having 30 monitors or massive lines. We only had 3 monitors for Band of Bastards, and one of the monitors we were using for a Woman's Lot DLC. So I had actually more opportunity to talk to devs, and I had fans come over. I had Brandon Murphy come over, Storm the Bard from Mixer, and a bunch of other Mixer guys that I'm buddies with. Real cool people. And I barely got a chance to sneak around, though. I actually hung out and talked to some of the dudes and the dudettes from Gun Media, and so Layers of Fear, Friday the 13th.
Mm-hmm.
Ring a bell, maybe? Great group of folks there. So PAX was great, and we went to a Layers of Fear party, and that was cool. I met, how about this one? His name, Daniel, is it? Daniel? Dan? Yeah, he worked for Red Storm. I'm like, wait a minute. Red Storm? You worked on Graw? I was like, yeah. I was like, Christian Strong? He's like, yeah, we worked together. I'm like, whoa! So I took a picture with him and I tagged Christian. That was pretty cool. And so we had a cool time. And then also at PAX, I don't know if you guys know anything about the Forgot Layers of Fear 2 is coming. Yeah, definitely is.
Yeah.
WWE, I don't know if you guys pay attention to that or not, but there's a couple wrestlers in WWE, one of them being Ember Moon. That's her name in wrestling. So she's a fan of Kingdom Come Deliverance. A lot of the lady wrestlers, female wrestlers, are fans of Kingdom Come Deliverance.
Nice.
And, yeah, I've talked with some of them and whatnot, and she was going to PAX, so I'm like, there's this other real mess of like this dude. He goes by Brendan on Twitter. He wrestles in the NXT, which is like AAA. If you're playing baseball, AAA, then you go to Major League Baseball. So it's like the next step. And I was like, he said he's a LARPer, right? And I said, you're not a true LARPer unless you come and play our game at PAX, because he's going to PAX. So him and Ember came to our booth, dude. And
Cool.
let me tell you something. If you look up Ember Moon on Twitter, you'll know what I'm saying by how she's very famous and she's quite the amazing. So I was like, cool. I was like, shakes Brennan's hand. I gave her a hug, and she's just awesome, man. It was so cool. I love, like, you guys know, when I met Post Malone because of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Like, I love meeting all sorts of people in the industry, man. It's really cool. These events are amazing because I like that a lot more than even the games. I like the relationships that I build from the devs, from the fans. Like,
Yeah.
it's because of the games that brought us together, but it's those things that mean more. So I'm sorry I'm going to this next. Xavier Woods, he is a big gamer. In fact, Xavier Woods was there. Tyler Breeze. They have that YouTube channel up, down, down.
Yep.
That's why it's sad the way people fight over games. Because when I'm at these events, it's what brings the people together. We need to stop being political. We need to stop wasting energy on things. I know we brought up a discussion about something and saying, why are you talking about that? Well, I thought it was pretty cool to talk about. Because it is something that's okay to have an opinion about. And isn't that what it comes down to? Is it's okay to have an opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, Charlotte Flair is going to take that belt, Frankie.
Really?
Yep. Charlotte Flair is taking that belt.
Becky all day long, she's too hot. She's going to take it. She's just too hot.
You think so? Becky Lynch?
Well, I think it's, if we're talking talent-wise, there's no doubt Ronda would win. She could beat them both at the same time. Sorry, but MMA experience.
Well, that's
Charlotte.
Well, yes.
Well, again, obviously that's still an opinion, but Charlotte is amazing. She's the most talented wrestler out of the three, like WWE wrestler.
Right.
She is the Hulk Hogan. She's like her dad.
Yeah,
There's not.
She's pedigree. She's pedigree.
Yeah. But, like Ronda, in real life, she would humiliate them, in my opinion. But I think Becky has done the best job with her character and turned it around. Like, remember when she was kind of like somewhat of a big deal, and then all of a sudden she wasn't even here or there. Like, what happened? And then all of a sudden she took on this whole new role, and she just. So I think they're going to go with the hot hand and give it to her, because WrestleMania, you always have a title. They're all most of the titles.
Well,
tonight.
Right,
Sorry.
and so no. See, people are asking me why no love for Ronda, because I think so. There's two things that happened to Ronda Rousey when she finally got to the WWE. One was, as good as she was coming in, a heel turn can really make you jump, especially if you're kind of middling. Ronda came in hot, started middling a little bit, and then heel turn, and that pushed her up. Now, imagine how much more, because this is a triple threat match. So now imagine her chasing Charlotte Flair to the next pay-per-view. Flair gets the belt, and I think what happens is Flair probably either Flair pins Becky Lynch, or something happens and Ronda gets like knocked out or something like that by something errant, and then Charlotte pins her, and so there's foul play afoot. So now Flair's got the belt, and Ronda is angry, and she's a heel. and she spends the next month, chasing Flair down. I mean, there's some crazy stuff you can do in that month with non-title matches, getting caught out in the back. Ronda goes crazy and attacks her in the dressing room, and there's all kinds of stuff that the storyline could go bonkers for those two, because that's really where they're heading. Like, Becky Lynch is cool, but we're talking about Flair, Charlotte Flair. So the money here, the money match is Ronda versus Flair.
Huh. They had that match though.
I know, but
yeah.
that's your. I just think that's where the money is.
And that's why Brock Lesnar has still had the title, because this is another perfect example of the whole difficulty mode thing.
All right. Yep. Well, money, yes.
And money and what they have a plan. And if they're raking in, I know that actually, the truth be told, is ratings did get to an all-time low, and I felt like there was a few reasons. I definitely think some of the writing wasn't so great. They weren't showing off enough talent. Ember Moon, your time's coming. I told her that at PAX. She's an amazing, talented wrestler. They weren't. They're almost getting now a plethora of wrestlers. But Roman Reigns, when he was out, ratings went down. When he was, I don't care what people say about Roman Reigns. That's another one. Listen, what does Triple H always say? He does what's what?
He does what's best for the company.
What's best for business, exactly.
Yep.
So
Vince McMahon always did what was best for the company.
So
whether you liked it or not.
Right.
I hated what he did to WCW when he bought him. But you know what? It didn't stop him.
Same thing with ECW. I mean, you had Taz come over and he ruined Taz, but they sorry, but he knows what he's doing. He survived it. WCW, those guys didn't.
Some did. Some of them did. Look, if Chris Benoit was still alive, he'd have dominated in WWE. If he didn't do what he did,
yeah, jeez.
Yeah, Eddie Guerrero. If he was still alive, he would have. And to be fair, Booker T had a really good.
He is amazing. He's amazing.
Yeah. Booker T had a really good run in WWE. So.
Paper Strike Frankie was saying about rumors about Undertaker. There is rumors that there's going to be another match. If someone said John Cena or Undertaker, here, how about this one? You guys heard of Lars Sullivan?
Yes.
See, you follow then, Mike. You definitely follow.
Of course. I'm trying to. I don't like WWE. That's the funny part. I know all about it, but I hate it. I've tried so much to like Impact, like TNA, but they can't get their shit together.
You need to watch NXT. Huh? You have to. Love NXT. I just watched 2 matches. I'm like, why have I not been watching?
You know why? Because NXT is filled with old Impact wrestlers. All the Impact wrestlers that left TNA went to NXT. Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, all those guys were former Impact wrestlers that left because Impact doesn't know how to keep its talent. So,
NXT, holy smokes! But.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Peter's going, what in the hell just happened?
All right, Peter.
Yeah, it's like
someday. I'm sorry. Sorry.
I had to catch myself. Coop wanted us to talk about Bioware for a minute. And this will be the only other thing that really happened. I'm apt to bring it up if you guys have an opinion on this, but I'm at the same time, most people know how I feel about the guy who wrote the article about this, so how much of this I even take as true and right is, I don't know. But apparently, God, I don't even like talking about him. So, Jason Schreier wrote an article on the K website about how messed up Bioware is right now. How Bioware is he literally called it a studio in crisis. How Anthem was troubled. Obviously coming off of a poor showing with Mass Effect Andromeda, we know that's a fact. Anthem has its fans. Peter, Rick, Chris, Coop. I know Coop really likes Anthem, and I know there's folks in here who really like Anthem. But from a sales standpoint, from a critical standpoint, is a second swing and a miss for BioWare, right? As far as I'm talking strictly sales and critical acclaim. I think we can agree hasn't gotten the best review scores. Didn't chart, didn't really show up anywhere. So in this article, they talked about some of the issues within BioWare and their development, their development strategy. Of course, everybody always seems to talk about crunch time and how overworked everybody is and yada yada yada. Depression and anxiety, and people were so angry and sad, and we've had people from BioWare come out and say this isn't exactly true, and they were very, everything was not as it seemed. But one of the other things that they said was that EA, this is the way he made it sound, is that EA kind of forced Frostbite on them, and they didn't like Frostbite, and they couldn't get it to work really well with an Anthem. So I'm curious if you guys have even really been following this, and two, how much of this do you believe and take, and does this put BioWare at risk, from a standpoint of having two games now that have not critically and from a sales perspective done well? And by the way, one quick other note, BioWare did put out a statement on their blog about this, and they do recognize that there are some feedback that is correct, some of it that is not, but they do, they are trying to continue to make Anthem. They say our full focus is on our players and continuing to make Anthem everything it can be for our community. We don't see the value in tearing down one another or one another's work. We don't believe articles that do are making our industry and craft better. So they were not happy with this. The struggles and challenges of making video games are very real, but the reward of putting something we created into the hands of our players is amazing. People in this industry put so much passion and energy into making something fun. So, and yeah, I can certainly see there has been some, as they're saying in the chat room, mismanagement, but I don't know that I believe that BioWare was this shark-infested water of a developer that I don't know. Casey Hudson came back, to them for a reason. Why would he if they were in that bad of straits? I don't know. Where are you guys on this? Is it even something you care about, given you guys like the game?
So
I like the game, but if a game does well, you don't hear anything, right? If the game doesn't do as well, so the targets, the target projections are off. You'll hear complaints because, hey, I didn't get my bonus or whatever, That's what you will hear from the people who are still there. Obviously, you will always hear from people who left. It's just, it's just a natural thing that happens.
Very.
I
good
mean,
point.
were there problems? Probably. I mean, every project will have problems and something problematic, and nothing goes according 100% according to plan.
There was an article towards the end of March by Forbes. You guys know how much they've about a little rough estimate how much they made in digital revenue? About 100 million. Now they haven't made a lot based on the extras, which actually the numbers were around 3.5 mil or whatever for microtransactions.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that things got out of hand, one way or another, if you had made $100 million in digital revenue. Now, games, by the way, cost way more than people can imagine. But if people think that they're just going to tuck tail and run on this, I doubt it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely doubt it, because I would bet that this game was very expensive to make. All AAA games are.
Mm-hmm.
That is, Kingdom Come Deliverance was very expensive as well. Now it's considered, like, kind of people say it's like a AA game, if you will, in the middle. But when you have 100 million in digital revenue and the game hasn't been out long, and I get it, game's already on sale, but every game goes on sale quickly, guys. It just is what it is now. Some might go on sale sooner, I understand that. And I'm not trying to defend the studio, but I am saying that they made money. So they're going to try and get this right.
Mm-hmm.
And the numbers will always speak louder. I'm not saying it's all about the money, but it's still going to speak louder than the public opinion over social media per se. Because you have a lot of still millions of people that don't comment, that are not on social, they may be on social media but are not commenting. When you have something that goes right, very little people, the people that like it, they don't really tend to comment as much. People that don't are more inclined to be negative. So when you go on forums and whatnot, and people say how the gaming industry is toxic, and I would disagree with that, by the way, because what is the gaming industry, or like, who are the gamers out there? There are many gamers that don't talk in forums or on Steam forums or in Reddit, and they don't, you know what I'm saying? Negativity sometimes, unfortunately, attracts them that way. So I'm just saying, I don't think. I think obviously practices need to change if workers aren't getting breaks and they can get very sick. But I don't know. It's hard, because when you say, well, they're tanking, their sales aren't as great as Destiny, and they still make 100 million in digital revenue, I think that's something to be said about that.
Well, and the game has its fans. Again, all of you, and Chris and Coop and I don't know that I don't know why. I can't put my finger why I didn't like it. I'll probably play it a little more when it comes out on EA Access. But I not that I hated it. Just wasn't as. I gotta get a better picture here. It was not. I don't know if it was boring for me or what. And I've kind of lost my ability to grind. Maybe that's part of it. Grinding for me is no longer as fun as it used to be, and maybe that's part of the issue. I don't know. But this whole thing, there we go. That's a little easier on the eyes. Like Ryer went into this whole thing about Frostbite and how he had some former Bioware guy light into Frostbite like it was the worst engine ever created by man. Literally the words that were used were hacked together, and I'm pretty sure I don't remember people talking about Frostbite that way at the beginning. So was that because was that because BioWare couldn't figure it out? I mean, it didn't seem to bother any of the other. Didn't seem to bother DICE. DICE didn't seem to have a problem with Frostbite. Neither did the FIFA team. But here, all of a sudden, Anthem, they couldn't use Frostbite. They couldn't use. I mean, I'm. Where does this come from?
Yeah.
And the other thing too is, with it's not just sales, and this used to be a thing. I don't know how much weight is put on it anymore, but people used to get bonuses and things like that for your Metacritic score. If your game scored, that game scored in the 80s or in the 90s, you guys all got a bonus for making a game that hit Metacritic. The truth of the matter is that Anthem sits now. It's a little off. It's a little skewed because there are, I think, more PS4 reviews than Xbox One reviews, and more than PC reviews. PS4 version of Anthem sitting at 55 Metacritic, and the Xbox One version sitting at 65. The 10-point delta is a little bizarre to me, but it's sitting at 55. It's actually sitting lower than. I think it's sitting lower than Crackdown. I want to say. I'm looking up Crackdown. Yeah, Crackdown's sitting at 60. So.
But what is with the scores? I mean, it's not that the game is like broken.
Right.
I mean, how can you have a score below us? I don't understand. It's almost like using it as I don't know.
It depends on how you
silliness.
Yeah, it depends on how you are. Depends on what scale you're scoring upon. It's
well, that too.
Are you doing it from a flat 1 to 100, or are you using school scores? Is
right.
50 an F, or is 50 that it's looking across the reviews, like Variety gave it a 30.
30?
A 30.
Well, it could be yeah. I mean. I don't know.
I know.
With gymnastics, or whatever, when it's like the lowest score and the high scores get thrown out. Maybe they need to do the same thing. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. Well, that
wasn't just ridiculous.
I don't know though. That wouldn't help it because the highest score was 75 on EGM, and the next lowest score to Variety was Giant Bomb, who gave it a 40. And but see, here's the other thing too. How many times have we had this problem, gentlemen, where people are scoring the game before they play the whole thing, and they're scoring a game that's online without getting the whole experience? Anthem's an online game. People have been so wanting to get so fast to get their review out because they need the clicks. I still remember to this day Metal Gear Solid 5 getting reviewed and getting perfect scores before the online component came out.
Yeah.
And in this case, Giant Bomb tagged the game because it crashed the guy's PS4 twice. That's fair, I think. I think you said it perfectly, Peter. I think your point is right. The game's not doing well, so all of a sudden the folks are coming out of the woodwork to slam BioWare.
No.
But is this going to have an effect on BioWare? Remember, EA said no. EA has said very bluntly that This is not going to affect BioWare. But let's be realistic. EA is a company at the end of the day. They're a business at the end of the day, and they require.
Yeah, and they have shareholders who demand every year needs to be better than last year. If not, we have to do something. Have to fire some people. Trim the fat from a skinny cat, and then eventually it's like it's cheaper to close shop than to spend a dime.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody's done it. The big boys have done it. EA's done it. EA shut down Visceral. They're not immune to shutting things down. Does this put? But in your opinion, does this put BioWare at risk? And at the very least, does this mean we're never going to get another Mass Effect?
I don't know.
It's just tough to say, right? I mean, when you're talking, like, when you go on a level of investors and all that, they're going to look at the bottom line. But you can't just do that either, right? You do need to say, okay, we do need to make sure, because you do need to make sure that the people who work for you are happy. They will be more productive if they are happy. Mm-hmm. But every studio has its own crunch time. It's not all the same. But there has to be a time, because even when we had our crunch time, it was exhausting. But then it was like, okay, now you can there would be times where you could definitely rest, right? Or people went on vacation, or people took a little more time off, because you have to have that time to not do it, not just not do anything. I don't know, because I understand there was people Jason talked to and stuff, so you gotta give some credit there for someone who's trying to look into it, but at the same time, everybody has, I don't know, it's hard to say because we're just not there, but you got to take care of the people who work for you. You really do.
Absolutely, I agree with that. I also think there's a difference between looking into it and writing hit pieces, because
Yeah, I mean, if you start in the mixing of it, personal opinion, then
I understand.
I mean, how it comes very very polarized real quick.
Well, you do it because you'll get the clicks.
Right.
That's this is a very long article, and I'm guilty. I clicked on it. But I needed to know enough. I needed to know enough to bring it up. If Coop was, look, everybody has these feelings about development companies. We said the same thing about Rare. Oh my God, what was going to happen if Sea of Thieves didn't do well? What was going to happen to Rare?
Right.
Rare had great success with Kinect Sports, but then they tailed off. And, the Rare Replay didn't do as well as they'd hoped, which is a crime of humanity in and of itself. But, what would happen if Sea of Thieves? What would happen if Gears? What would happen to Coalition? What would happen? And it has happened, Hell, Sony's done it. Sony dropped Evolution Studios after Drive Club. And they go to Codemasters. They make... what's that game they just made? What's the Codemasters game that the Evolution Studios made? We played it a little bit. It's in Game Pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then right after that, they let them go. So I mean, it does happen. But you don't see. I don't know. I haven't. I guess maybe I have an issue with. There's a difference between talking about Onrush. That's the games. Thank you, Jeff. I don't know. I think throwing the dirt out there in that way. I agree with BioWare. That article doesn't do the industry any good.
No,
it really doesn't. It doesn't. BioWare understands the position Anthem is in. EA understands the position that Anthem is in, and I think EA is putting their best face on. BioWare's putting their best face on. Sure, there is probably some issues internally at BioWare. I think that's, but to air it out like this, so that you can get some clicks for your website.
Yeah.
There's a reason. I'm just gonna say this. There's a reason that some people don't have relationships with developers. And things like this are why. This is not something I would have written. I'll tell you that. Because you got to keep in mind too. There are human beings that work at this developer at BioWare, And what are you doing to the people who are still there? What are you doing to those people who did put their heart and soul into the game? You're not helping, and that's my problem. Is that this was something that's not helping. There could be an article about management issues at BioWare. Sure. Places like there's a it's not quite a European site. More of an industry, games industry, or there's a couple of these industry sites that are more kind of straight laced. And yeah, you could do that. You could have that article where someone said something and you report on it. But man, to go digging so far in as to try to hurt the development studio and to hurt the people who are still in there trying to make. I mean, how does it make the people feel who are in there trying to fix the game from the feedback they're getting? You guys like the game, but there is a reason that it's not selling well. There's a reason that it got low scores. They're trying to fix it. They're trying to get in there and do things, and they want to continue to support the game, and I hope they do. But how does that make those people feel who are in there trying to do their best and trying to make the game better? How does that help them?
Yeah, not at all.
So, Coop, this is kind of why I didn't want to bring it up, because I'm not a journalist anymore, so I don't give a rat's ass if anybody doesn't like what I'm saying about Jason Schreier. I really don't. And you can, my Twitter is right there. You're welcome to tweet me. You're welcome to have at me, bro. But this is the reason that I don't do game journalism anymore, because game journalism has turned into this nonsense. Back in the day, we didn't do this crap. We talked about games. We brought out information about games. We did review games. We previewed stuff. We talked to developers. If something happened, we brought it to people and we let them figure out whether or not it affected them or not. We didn't go writing hit pieces. It just didn't happen this way. Yes, if there's issues at BioWare, then you know what happens? People leave BioWare, they go work elsewhere, and BioWare will shut down on its own naturalism.
Yeah.
That's what will happen. The game is bad, game doesn't sell, management gets fired. That's how that works. It doesn't need this over-the-top, I'm going to go out and ruin BioWare attitude. And that's what I feel like these kind of things do. I'm going to go out and ruin Microsoft. I'm going to go out and ruin BioWare. I mean, I remember these articles about the Phantom Dust game. They were trying to, I think there was one on Scalebound too, and all that stuff. It's unhealthy and unnecessary, and it's a soapbox that I need to get off of now before I really say something that I'm gonna regret. I don't want to drag. It's something that I don't want to drag the rest of NLG into, because I have very I did this for 15 years, and I have a very visceral reaction to some of the stuff that I see from game journalism these days, and it makes me sad that I used to be in this industry and I used to do this, and like Rick on the developer side, Rick's seen it from the developer side. I've had relationships with developers. There's a reason that I'm in a baseball game. There's a reason that I know people. There's a reason that I've gotten interviews that I've gotten, because I've gotten to know developers and I understand. I understand the development industry is hard. Developing a game, I wouldn't want to. Peter, we've talked to indie developers that have that do this as a side job,
right?
But then we've talked to Nick Macon, who put his entire life into Raging Justice. We know what development's about. We understand it. We see it. We talk to developers too. It's hard. It's a difficult thing, and I wouldn't even try to do it. Rick, you've seen it from the inside. I wouldn't even. I have a lot of respect for development, and I have a lot of respect for indie developers more than anything, because I couldn't do it. So what does this help? I want to know. I want somebody to tell me what good that article did for the industry. What good does that do BioWare? What good does that do the gamers who are playing Anthem? And what good does it do the people in BioWare who are trying to fix the game so that they could maybe pick up, some people that were upset about the game at first? Well, tell me where the positive out of that article was, please.
I mean, I don't know.
I mean that piece is written to make money.
But I will say, at least, and I think just trying to. I'm not saying it's all balanced out even, but I'm just trying to say maybe what Super Cooper's saying is that it can hopefully, if there really is, in what appears to be a little bit, well, if it improves working conditions. If there is at least some awareness in that regard, then it's at least a plus you could take out of it, get out of it. I can't sit here and say, talk on Jason Schreier's behalf. I understand, Mike, I understand where you're coming from, because again, there was, I know he said he talked to people in the industry, but at the job, but if I work. I also work for a cell phone company that does. I really like it there a lot. But I guarantee if you had the right kind of narrative or way to twist, and I'm not saying that that's what happened, you could have employees say things who might be more negative, but maybe they don't even want to lose their job or anything, but they just hope conditions could get better, and then maybe it looks a lot worse than it is. Yeah, it's possible. It really is. I always think that social media is going to make a bigger deal out of it. But I'm sure there's some positive that could come from it.
And I get what Cooper's saying too, but at the same time, there's a way to do it that doesn't then become this Woodward and Bernstein nonsense. This is literally like, I'm going to take down BioWare. Right now, Twitter is so powerful. Look what happened with Telltale, right? The folks that left that were with Telltale, we heard all about what happened at Telltale. We didn't hear about it from a game journalist. We heard about it from people who started putting their stuff out on social media about what happened at Telltale, and those got circulated around because of the power of Twitter. That's about as powerful now, because people with hundreds of thousands or thousands of followers retweet that out, and then it retweets out as somewhere else. That's natural design. That's getting your word out there and letting the people decide for themselves how they feel about it. I don't know. I understand what Coop is saying to an extent. I also think the messenger doesn't have the best intentions in mind. And I'll leave it at that. Again, I don't want to, my intention here is not to get us into a war with Kotaku, and their fan base. But I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, I am. Woo.
Yeah.
Alive. We're alive,
We're alive. So, I'm gonna. I think we covered everything. Unless you guys got anything else that we need to cover tonight.
It's been interesting for sure.
It has been. This has been one of our more interesting shows. This has been like a Dr. Phil show.
Yeah.
It's been a Maury Povich.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, Rick,
could have been a Jerry Springer.
It could have been Jerry Springer. You throw chairs at each other. Oh man. So, well, let's end on a happy note. Let's end on this Fextra Life note. Rick, we're so happy for you, man.
Thank you very much.
I know in talking to you that this was not an easy decision to make. You toiled on it quite a bit, and I hope nothing but the best for you, my brother, and I'm interested in how we may be able to help you or work with you or something. I don't know. We have to take a closer look at what Fextra Life does and how how we can help you out.
Yeah, man. Of course, I'll help each other out. Brothers stick together.
Absolutely. And I hope that this is everything that. Look, your energy is infectious, and is what they saw in you. I mean, you just talking about it. You'd only been with them for 3 days, and you're talking about it. You were talking about it earlier, like you'd been there for 6 years. So that's a great that's a great testament to why they got you. So
appreciate it, man.
But again, brothers at Warhorse, we still could get Toby, or you still.
Oh, right.
We need one of the big guns. Now, they work for THQ. I don't know if we'd have access anymore, but I'm just saying. We still love you, Warhorse, right?
Always.
Always. But now, great. It's great having you on again, Rick, and of course, I'm glad that as you climb the ladder, you remember us little guys.
Wait, man, we're all in this together, one way or another.
Absolutely. And to the chat room, thank you, brothers. You guys are all. He said, "Great. Wish you could have been on Stupid Teeth." Yes, we wish you were here. It's a great chat room once again, as always. Everybody, we love you guys. I love the fact that not everybody, this is a cool thing. Like I love the fact that Coop doesn't necessarily agree with my take on this, and you guys, you guys may or may not necessarily either. I'm good with that because that's what makes us. That's what makes this great. That's what makes our discussion great. And I love the fact that Coop had a different opinion and was able to bring that opinion out, and we could talk about it, and we could, Jeff's had, last week Jeff had some fun opinions with Jago. It was all kinds of. I had to calm the chat room down. I mean, that's what makes it fun. It's what makes me look forward to Fridays. No matter what happens in my week, no matter what's going on, I know on Friday I'm gonna step in here with Peter and Chris, sometimes you, Rick, and some flippin' fantastic people in the chat room, and it's just
Yeah.
I love it. I live for this.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but now it's time to maybe go play some games. So
Very good.
but so thank you guys. Hey, Peter, I'll let you take us out too.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Thanks, Rick, for being on the show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed the show. We'll be back next Friday at 9:30 p.m. Eastern.
Thereabouts.
Maybe thereabouts. So enjoy your weekend. Game on, guys.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.